Hello, and welcome to the 90s, week by week, where we are taking a look at every week in the decade that was the 1990s. I'm your host, Brandon, coming at you from Grubby's Private Bar. On this broadcast, we'll deep dive into the pop culture and current affairs of each week in the 90s to help frame what was going on at the time and maybe recover some long-forgotten memories buried deep down within your subconscious. I'll start off by running through the data and events, and then bring on a guest at the end to discuss some of their experiences with the content. This particular episode will cover January the 1st through January the 6th in the year 1990. Here are the top songs for each day. From January the 1st through January 6th, the top song every day was Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Rounding out the top 10 for the week were number 10, We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel, number 9, Everything by Jody Watley, number 8, Just Like Jesse James by Cher, number 7, This One's for the Children by New Kids on the Block, number 6, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You by Michael Bolton, number 5, With Every Beat of My Heart by Taylor Dayne, number 4, Pump Up the Jam by Technotronic featuring Felly, number 3, Don't Know Much by Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville, number 2, Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson, and number 1, Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Regarding Another Day in Paradise, the dominant song this week, Phil Collins told the New York Times how the song came together. Quote, "It was begun at the piano. I started playing and put it down on a tape so I wouldn't forget it. Then I decided to see what would happen when I started singing. When I began, the words just came out. She calls out to the man on the street. I didn't set out to write a song about the homeless. Those were just the words I happened to sing. It was only then that I decided that was what the song would be about." The DOC by the DOC and the Doctor was the top rap song for the week of January 6th, and the top country song was Who's Lonely Now by Highway 101. The top movie for each day was January the 1st, The War of the Roses, and then January 2nd through the 5th, Born on the 4th of July was the number one movie. The top movies for the weekend of January the 5th were number 5, The Little Mermaid, number 4, Always, number 3, Tango and Cash, number 2, The War of the Roses, and number 1, Born on the 4th of July. The movie Born on the 4th of July was based on the 1976 book by Ron Kovic. They used red filters for battle scenes and blue filters for sad scenes. In television, the top 10 shows for this week were number 10, Designing Women. The title of the episode was The First Day of the Last Decade of the Entire 20th Century. It was the 13th and 14th episodes of the 4th season, and it aired on January the 1st. Number 9 was The Wonder Years. The title was Rock and Roll, and it was the 33rd episode of the 3rd season and aired January the 2nd. Number 8 was Empty Nest. The title was Change of Heart. It was the 12th episode of the 2nd season, and it aired on January the 6th. Number 7 was Murder, She Wrote, which was a rerun. Number 6 was A Different World, and the title was Under One Roof. It was the 11th episode of the 3rd season and aired January the 4th. Number 5 was 60 Minutes. Number 4 was Golden Girls, titled Mary Had a Little Lamb. It was the 13th episode of the 5th season and it aired on January the 6th. Number 3 was Roseanne. The title of the episode was Chicken Hearts. It was the 13th episode of the 2nd season and aired January the 2nd. Number 2 was Cheers, titled Sammy and the Professor. It was the 13th episode of the 8th season and aired January the 4th. And number 1 for the week was The Cosby Show, and the title of the episode was Elvin Pays for Dinner. It was the 13th episode of the 6th season and it aired on January the 4th. In this week's episode of Quantum Leap, Sam leapt into the body of a college party animal nicknamed Wild Thing. He was tasked with stopping a group of war protesters from a bombing that would result in the death of a student. The title was Animal Frat, and it was the 12th episode of the 2nd season, and it aired on January the 3rd. The episode of Star Trek The Next Generation this week was titled The Defector. It was the 10th episode in the 3rd season. In it, a Romulan admiral defects in an attempt to prevent a war. Picard must decide if he's telling the truth or if it's a trap. Also this week in January 1990, on January the 1st, The Babysitters Club debuted on HBO. On January the 2nd, Skipper from Gilligan's Island died at the age of 68. On January the 5th, Maya the Bee debuted on Nickelodeon. And on January the 6th, Zorro debuted on CBN Family Channel. On the cover of TV Guide for January the 1st through the 5th were the words New Year's Special with Julia Duffy and Jean Smart from Designing Women holding babies with sashes on them that said 1990. Some of the subtitles were Baby Boom Hits TV, Resolutions of the Stars, and Bowl Game Matchups. In the world of soap operas, All My Children aired its 20th year anniversary episode on January the 2nd, which consisted of characters going through a scrapbook. This turned into various memorable clips from the past 20 years. On Days of Our Lives, Kimberly was shocked when she realized that she accidentally shot Shane, who slips into a coma following surgery. Victor kidnaps Kayla and tells Patch that he'll release her when he gets the key he wants. On the Arsenio Hall show this week, on January the 2nd, Alyssa Milano and George Burns were guests. On January the 3rd, Stephen Bauer and Julia Duffy were joined by musical guest Stephanie Mills. On January the 4th, Robert Wool and Martin Mull were joined by musical guest Elton John. And on January 5th, Pee Wee Herman was on with musical guest Luther Vandross. In sports, on January the 1st, 4 college football bowl games were played. In the Sugar Bowl, Miami defeated Alabama 33-25 at the Louisiana Superdome, and eventually went on to win the national title. The AP and coaches poll both ranked them number 1 back before the implementation of the BCS. In the Rose Bowl, USC defeated Michigan 17-10. Notable players included Junior Seau on USC and Desmond Howard on Michigan. Famed Michigan coach Bo Schembechler retired after this game. In the Fiesta Bowl, Florida State defeated Nebraska 41-17, and in the Orange Bowl, Notre Dame defeated then number 1 Colorado 21-6. On the cover of the Sporting News was a picture of Joe Montana with the words Man of the Year in large print. Off to the side it said, Joe Montana of the San Francisco 49ers is the outstanding sports figure for 1989. The cover of 17 magazine said the 1990s and was broken up into 4 quadrants with different pictures and words in each. The words were style, friends, love, and beauty. Other subtitles were fashion freedom, hair and makeup choices, personal fitness, faces of the future, movies and music, and kids of divorce. The cover of Sassy magazine had the following subtitles. You pick 1989's most beloved stars. We take you to the gynecologist. This teen suicide was murder. Cut out gifts from us. 10 ways to save the planet. And 87,354 sequins. The top book for each day this week was Daddy by Daniel Steele from January 1st through January the 6th. In professional wrestling, on January the 2nd, Sting joined the Four Horsemen with Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Ole Anderson. On the cover of WWF magazine was Jake the Snake with the caption, Jake the Snake demands DiBiase's destruction. Subtitles were Hulk Hogan, his fiercest battles of 1989. Demolition, can they counter the Colossal Connection? The Warrior ambushed, Bravo and accomplice to face the rage, and Bad News Brown. He's big, bitter, and hungry for a belt. In comic books, Jubilee is featured in costume for the first time in The Uncanny X-Men 257. It's an Acts of Vengeance tie-in where Wolverine fights a brainwashed Psylocke going by Lady Mandarin. In Amazing Spider-Man 328, Hulk is compelled to destroy Spider-Man for a large sum of money by Sebastian Shaw, but Spidey wins out. It's another Acts of Vengeance tie-in. In Batman 443, Batman finds himself on the trail of a criminal mastermind called the Crime Smith, who provides criminals the means by which to commit higher-level crimes, but also seemingly burn them from the inside out if they aren't successful. The Acts of Vengeance storyline that was prevalent in Marvel Comics at this time originally debuted in December 1989 and ended in February 1990. It consisted of a ploy by Loki whereby he used villains to attack heroes that they didn't typically fight. His intentions were to get at the Avengers who had his brother Thor on them. The January issue of Thrasher magazine featured Steve Caballero on the cover. Inside was an article about the band Soundgarden when they were still up and coming. The issue of Nintendo Power for this week was number 10, and it covered the months of January and February. On the cover was Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson as they were dressed in the Batman movie, while on the inside was a full review of the Batman game. There was also a behind-the-scenes look at the making of Super Mario Bros. 3, which didn't come out until the middle of February. The top 5 video games in this issue were number 5, Dragon Warrior, number 4, Ninja Gaiden, number 3, Super Mario Bros. 2, number 2, Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, and number 1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Also this week, on January the 3rd, Manuel Noriega surrendered. He had taken refuge in the Vatican Embassy in Panama City and was eventually smoked out by music like Give It Up by Casey and the Sunshine Band, No More Mr. Nice Guy by Alice Cooper, and Paranoid by Black Sabbath. On the cover of Time magazine was Mikhail Gorbachev, who had been deemed Man of the Decade. The cover of People magazine said the 25 most intriguing people of the year and had various celebrities underneath in separate squares. In the top right corner it said, Special Double Issue. And now that we're done with the first part of the broadcast, I'd like to bring on my guest. I'd like to welcome to the 90s week by week, Kim Grubb. Kim is my wife. We spent a lot of the 90s together. Not this part of it, but a lot after this. How are you doing tonight, Kim?
I'm good.
Okay. It's Saturday, January the 6th, 1990. What are you doing?
Maybe playing basketball.
Playing basketball for a team or just for fun?
Yeah, Covington school team, middle school.
So you played middle school basketball?
I did.
Oh, how exciting. Were you any good?
No.
Did you keep playing after that?
Intermittently for a few years, but it was not my sport.
Okay, so what did you do instead? So the rest of the 90s?
My sports were volleyball and softball.
I remember being unimpressed with Another Day in Paradise at the time it came out, but I was also into hair bands and heavy metal back then. I now find the song to be profound, not just in content, but arrangement. Is there a song I mentioned in the first part of the show that you hear or think about differently now than you might have in the first week of 1990?
No.
No? Did you know that Rhythm Nation isn't necessarily about, like, rhythm in music? I listened to the lyrics the other day, and it's more about, like, harmony and peace, world peace. I had no idea.
I did not know that.
Pretty sure that's what... I mean, it's probably intended to be a double meaning, which is very clever.
Very clever.
I saw Born on the 4th of July in the theater because my dad wanted to watch it, and I remember being disturbed by it, or maybe unsettled's a better word. I was in the 7th grade, so I doubt I even understood the range of emotions human beings are capable of. Do you have a memory of seeing any of the top 5 movies from that week, maybe even in the theater? To repeat, they were The Little Mermaid, Always, Tango and Cash, The War of the Roses, and Born on the 4th of July.
I saw The Little Mermaid at a slumber party, but I never saw any of the movies in a theater.
You saw The Little Mermaid at a slumber party?
Yes.
In 1990, how old were you?
12.
Okay. You get a pass for watching Little Mermaid at a slumber party. In this week's episode of Roseanne, someone comments that there are people waiting 5 and 6 minutes for food in the drive-thru and that it's unacceptable. Do you think, as a rule, drive-thrus are shorter or longer than that these days?
I think it depends on the restaurant, but longer in general, in my opinion.
What was your favorite fast food restaurant in 1990?
Probably McDonald's.
And what'd you get?
Cheeseburger, no onion, French fries, and a Coke.
That's what you had in middle school in 1990?
I think so, yeah.
Is that what you get now?
I don't get McDonald's anymore. But I still do cheeseburger, no onion. Has ketchup, mustard, and pickle on it.
On Cheers, there was a scene where Carla grabs chewing gum from under a table and starts chewing it, and that reminded me of a story my mom used to tell about going out to eat when I was little and noticing I was chewing gum, even though she hadn't given me any. She asked where I got it, and I pointed under the table. Granted, Carla was chewing her own gum from under the table, but for a moment anyway, I identified with her. Which Cheers patron or employee are you?
Probably Rebecca.
Why Rebecca?
She's kind of an anxious mess.
So you're an anxious mess.
A lot of the time, yes.
Which Golden Girl are you?
Probably Dorothy.
Because she's an anxious mess?
No. She's kind of serious, I guess, but I don't really fit the other 3, so I would say Dorothy's the closest to me. Or I'm the closest to her.
On the cover of TV Guide for the first week of January 1990 was the subtitle, Resolutions of the Stars. What's one resolution you wish you would have made and kept on January 1st, 1990 that had to do with whatever went down the following year?
I have no idea.
Apparently practice more basketball.
Oh, no, I know what I wanted to do, actually.
I'm ready.
Looking back, I wish I would have done art instead of band.
You wish you would have done art instead of band. Why?
Because I didn't do it till my senior year and found out I loved it, and I think I could have, not that I would have been an artist, but I just feel like I could have used that more than band in my life. That's just my personal opinion.
6th grade art could have changed the course of your life.
That's right.
God knows
More
what
than
you
playing
do.
the clarinet.
Yes. What are you reading in 1990? Sassy, WWF Magazine, Nintendo Power, TV Guide, or Time?
Probably either Sassy or TV Guide.
Because you watched a lot of TV?
I did watch a lot of TV.
What did you watch on TV in 1990? What was your favorite show?
I don't know. I watched a lot of Golden Girls. I watched a lot of soap operas, Days of Our Lives.
In the 6th grade?
Oh, yeah. I used to even record them sometimes.
Who was your favorite person on Days of Our Lives in 1990?
Probably Hope.
If you were the age that you are now in the year 1990, which one of those magazines are you reading?
Maybe Time.
Because it's more sophisticated. You
Yes.
care more about what's going on in the world than you do what's going on in TV land.
Correct.
In January of 1990, which video game are you playing? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Zelda 2 The Adventures of Link, Super Mario Bros. 2, Ninja Gaiden, or Dragon Warrior?
Probably Super Mario Brothers 2.
Did you actually play Super Mario Bros. 2 in 1990?
Can't remember. I know I played Super Mario Brothers before that, so I'm assuming yes, but I don't remember.
Did you beat it?
Yes.
The original Super
yes.
Mario you did?
I did.
By yourself?
Yes.
Impressive. Manuel Noriega surrendered this week after being driven crazy by certain songs being played at high volume. What song on repeat and at high volume from the top 10 this week in 1990 would drive you crazy?
Either This One's for the Children by New Kids on the Block or How Am I Supposed to Live Without You by Michael Bolton.
For me, I'm going with Aaron Neville. I don't know. I just can't do that song.
Don't know much?
Nope, can't do that song. Going back to the slumber party that you said you watched The Little Mermaid at, what typically went on in 1990 at a girl's slumber party when you were in the 6th grade?
A lot of food, a lot of scary movies.
What kind of food?
Doritos, pop, things like that. Probably candy. And just other, silly things girls do. Hair, probably makeup, singing, in groups.
Without music?
No,
or
along
with
with
music?
the music.
Along with music, like what? What song are you guys singing along to in 1990 at a slumber party?
Potentially We Didn't Start the Fire. That one was on repeat at a different slumber party, not the same one with the Little Mermaid.
We Didn't Start the Fire. You guys sang that?
I think
Did you guys memorize the lyrics to it?
Maybe.
There's a lot of lyrics to that song.
I know. It's been a long time. I was 12. That's been a long time ago.
Name one of the New Kids.
Joey McIntyre?
Can you name all of them?
No, because I wasn't a New Kids fan.
That doesn't mean you can't name all of them. I think I can name all of them.
You're the one that saw them in concert, not me.
I'm editing that out.
No, that has to stay.
Yeah, I did. I saw them on the Step by Step tour. And they came were lifted down like in a helicopter when it was called Deer Creek, and there were giant steps and they danced down them. And Rated PG opened for them. Perfect Gentleman.
Who'd you see the concert with?
My mom and brother.
Bradley or Brian?
Bradley.
This is because you wanted to see it? Did you ask to go?
So I don't know because I don't want to step outside of the year 1990, particularly the first part of it. So I don't know when the song came out, but I'm going to go ahead and reference it anyway. I actually thought that Hanging Tough was a tough song, and it made me feel tough to listen to it. So that's how I ended up probably at a New Kids on the Block concert, because that was the only way I could feel tough, was to go to a New Kids on the Block concert.
Wow.
Yeah, you're telling me. So, how is Michael Bolton supposed to live without her?
I don't know.
You have
With
no
that
advice.
hair, he should probably be able to get any woman he wants.
I don't disagree with that. Actually, I completely disagree with that.
I really don't know.
Alright, well, he'll have to keep wondering, I guess. If you could quantum leap into anyone referenced in this episode, fiction or nonfiction, for a day and live their life, who would it be?
I think the Golden Girls.
You
One
would,
of them.
You would leap into one of the Golden Girls?
Yeah.
Just to get into one of their crazy misadventures?
Yes.
What if it's the episode from this week where, like, the guy from prison comes and
Well, I don't want to be Sophia.
ties Sophia.
Yeah, I don't want to be Sophia because I get tied up. Maybe I'd be Dorothy or Rose when they go visit Mary's father.
But even that's kind of awkward and tense.
I don't care. I still like the Golden Girls. I think it'd be fun to get into the Golden Girls.
All of that would be worth it just to sit and drink coffee for
And eat
5
cheesecake.
minutes at the
Yes.
table in the kitchen.
Correct. Oh, that would be fun to be at the Cheers bar, too.
Well, which one of them are you jumping into?
Carla, because she kind of says whatever she wants.
So for a day, you're just going to say whatever you want and hang out and cheers?
Yes. What about you?
What about me, what?
Which episode are you leaping into?
What person am I leaping into? It doesn't have to be a TV episode. It could be anybody. It could be a musician. You can live Phil Collins' life for a day if you want.
Okay, well, who are you leaping into? And why?
I don't know, because I haven't seen like 2 or 3 of these movies, so maybe somebody from them.
You want to be Eric in The Little Mermaid, don't you?
Who?
Eric in The Little Mermaid.
I don't even know who that is.
You didn't watch The Little
I've
Mermaid?
seen it, bits and pieces of it. Who's Eric?
He's the one that she falls in love with.
No, I don't. I'm not trying to fall in love with a cartoon mermaid. You know what? I'm gonna go with Steve Caballero. I'd like to have been part of the Bones Brigade for a day. That'd been awesome. Go skate with Tony Hawk and Mike McGill and those guys. I mean, that's what I would have picked in 1990. And that's what I'd still pick, I think. However, we both know my love for professional wrestling, and my love of Demolition is my all-time favorite tag team. I'd kind of like to spend a day in one of their bodies, Axe or Smash. So yeah, I am either going to leap into Steve Caballero's body or one of the members of Demolition. However, I did mention Soundgarden too, and that'd been pretty cool to like play a stadium.
You're a huge Michigan fan. You wouldn't want to be in the football game? The Rose Bowl?
No, because they lost.
I know, but still to be a part of it.
Yeah. I'd like to jump into Desmond Howard the day he won the Heisman. That'd been awesome. So yeah, I got all kinds of options here. Are there any of these songs that you've never heard?
I think I've heard all of them. I can't quite place Everything by Jody Watley off the top of my head for some reason.
I don't think I had ever heard Just Like Jesse James until I was researching this episode. Sassy or 17?
I feel like I like 17 better. It's been a while, but it's 17. And YM, those are the two I probably read the most.
All right, well, thank you for being our first guest, Kim.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we'll see you on here again.
I hope so.
And thank you to all of you for hanging out with us for this episode of the 90s Week by Week. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on whatever audio service you are using to be notified of new episodes. If you'd like to keep up with us on the various social media platforms, you can find links to all of them at the90sweekbyweek.com. There you can leave comments and questions, as well as take part in polls and contests. Thank you for sticking it out with us for this first episode. I'm excited to continue this journey, and we'll work to develop our presentation and format with each new edition. Till next time.